Hi, I'm Eric.
And I'm Laura. We're a couple who stepped away from the default version of success after questioning the traditional path and realizing the life we were building looked right on paper but didn't feel the way we thought it would.
Join us for honest conversations, grounded perspective, real life experiences, and a refreshing take on what it means to live life on your own terms. You know that saying, it's like riding a bike?
Mm-hmm.
I think podcasting is like that for us.
You think?
I think so. I feel like once we got the headphones on and the mics right here,
Like set the mood,
yeah,
set the tone.
set the tone, just hop back into it and
Yeah.
get into podcast mode and just we had a lot of fun in the last one, talking all about RVing and all that stuff, but it's just so easy.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel like I kind of just stepped right back into kind of where we left
podcast
off.
mode.
Yeah, which is cool. We've obviously been talking about this for a while in terms of the direction we wanted to take this in and what that pivot was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing, it's one thing to talk about doing something.
It's another to put the headphones on and get
yeah,
the mics
to actually execute.
Yeah.
And I think I, on some level, had probably told myself this story about how it was going to go down, but it does. It definitely feels like a very easy bike to get back on.
Yeah, pretty wild how it's just like that.
Yeah, I agree. So, what do you think? Should we get into today's episode?
Absolutely. I think when people hear about someone selling their house and downsizing, and like what we did, move into an RV, they assume it was this big, impulsive, blow up your life kind of decision, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. For us, it didn't feel like that at all.
I do see, though, how it could have come across as that because we kept that decision so close to the vest for so long.
I mean, that's just kind of how we do things, too.
It is.
Yeah, so there's that.
But I can see how it could appear that way if you're looking in from the outside.
Right. So to that point, for us, it felt like the complete opposite. It felt like we stopped trying to force a version of life that didn't fit and started making those decisions that actually felt aligned to us.
100%.
Yeah.
And gosh, the second you experience that shift, everything changes. To actually live and make decisions and make choices from a place of alignment versus just what you think you should be doing, what you've been told you should do.
Yeah.
Huge. It's I feel like that's such a huge moment of growth for anyone.
I mean, we keep saying it. I know I keep saying this a lot is I look around here and I'm like, man, 2 years later, we live in an RV. And I don't think I've ever had that mindset when we were in Colorado.
Oh my gosh, we live in a house. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, we live in this state.
Exactly. It was okay,
It's just life.
Yeah, it's just you just keep going through the motions and but when you're finally excited about something and you look around and you still feel that excitement from day one, week one, hell, even month one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still that same level of feeling 2 years later. I think that's pretty cool.
I think that right there is alignment. But no, it is wild. We've obviously touched on this in the last episode about just what our life looked like before, you could say before we moved halfway across the country, before we moved into an RV, but just before we started making those decisions that actually felt aligned and authentic for us.
Mm-hmm.
I would say life was very different before. The tensions that we felt, the conversations that we had, then versus now are very different.
Oh yeah,
I feel
definitely.
like, back then there was obviously this desire, at least for me, to expand my horizon. Like that's the first thing that came to mind. But to just grow, to evolve, to strive for more, to strive for what I actually want.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been a component or a piece of my life. But I feel like now it's at the forefront of everything that I do. How will this help me? How will this help me grow? How will this help me improve XYZ?
Wow, that's pretty damn good.
Profound.
Yeah, right. Oh, ooh.
And scene.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I just kind of like thinking back, like I'm not like focusing on any one conversation we've had in the past because we've had a lot of conversations. This I think we enjoy the podcast so much because we enjoy talking to each other, and we talk to each other so much. I mean, when you live in 400 square feet and spend every waking moment together, like,
Yeah, there's
you
a lot
have
of
a lot of
conversations.
conversations.
Yes, exactly.
But I've always enjoyed our conversations, which I think is why this just feels pretty natural to me. But and just kind of thinking of what our conversations looked like even a few years ago versus now. Like now we're constantly trying to figure out, like, how can we improve? How can we do better? How can we show up better? How can we show up, more as our authentic self?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it all comes back to making those decisions that are actually aligned for where we want to be.
Yeah, I don't think I can remember a single instance of any of those types of conversations that we would have had in either New York or Colorado. I think once we got into this RV, that's when things started to change and shift.
And when you say change and shift, like what specifically do you mean?
I think for me it would be like making those decisions of trying to better myself. Like there are plenty of times. So this is a separate thing. I remember we were in Colorado and we were always having these conversations. Maybe not always, but I remember a few times of like, oh, we should go out and like hike and explore because that's just what you do in Colorado. And we're like, all right. I mean, yeah, let's try it, right? It never felt good. We always like kicked our ass, and like it didn't feel like at the time like really great.
No, it felt forced.
Yeah,
100%.
so forced. And so for all that, like everything that we've done while we've RV'd, and we're still going, has always been of what we want to do, not a seeing others do it and like having their values pushed on us. A lot of people are like, oh, every week we're gonna move, and we're like, we came into this and we're gonna stay at an area at least a month. So I think like those are some of the decisions that and conversations I remember or that really stick out to me for all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Just making it, whatever those decisions are, making them specific to us.
100%. And I think the decision making process, I mean, anything you do in life, like there's going to be some level of decision making that you have to go through.
Right.
Am I going to take this road or this road? Am I going to take this job or this job? Am I going to spend my weekend doing this or spend my weekend doing that? Like there's always a decision making process involved regardless of the size of the actual decision.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the process of making those decisions becomes easier and way more clear when you're actually like feeling, I hate to keep saying the word aligned, but it's just like it feels fitting, but like when you're actually aligned with the choice in front of you.
Okay, so by aligned, can you expand on that?
I mean, it feels authentic to like who you are and how you show up in the world. It feels authentic to your beliefs, your passions, the things that like light you up.
So you're saying it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like someone else is saying, or maybe not saying, but inadvertently guiding you towards like how they want you to live.
Exactly. You're not being influenced by outside perspectives or opinions, that kind of thing. And I mean, it's taken me a long time to get to this place. And it would be fair to say that for anyone. I mean, we are so heavily influenced by the people we spend the most time with. You know, there's that whole saying about like what is it? Like you're a direct reflection of like the 5 people you most spend.
Yeah, show me show me your 5 people, and I'll show you your path. Or I know exactly what you're saying.
There's probably a few ways to say that one, but you know, we from literally day one of our lives, like we are influenced by outside forces. And I'm sure that some people get to the end of their life and that's a large part of where regrets come from, because you never fully like followed the path that you actually wanted to take.
Man, going deep on that one.
I know. Oh my gosh, rein it in, girl. But, you know, when it comes to our story, I mean, there's so many layers to our story. And, like, because I know I have done a lot of, like, reflection over the years, I could kind of, like, wax on about that for a while. But it's interesting because, like I said earlier, you know, if you were somebody looking into our lives from the outside, you probably would have thought that we made
a crazy decision,
a blow up your life kind of decision, but it was actually very, you know, strategic and planned out, you know, as much as you can plan something. But what, you know, a lot of people don't realize is like it seemed like it was more seamless because we weren't forcing it.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
I mean, what we felt was just like pure excitement and pure joy and just like ready to, as corny as this is going to sound, face the open road ahead of us.
Oh.
I know, that's like dad joke level.
Oh my
without
goodness.
being a dad joke. But do you know what I mean? Like what we felt was just like, it was just excitement as a whole. You know, did we have all the answers? Absolutely not. Did we know there was going to be a lot of learning along the way? There always is in life. But we didn't let those unknowns stop us. And I think there's just like something beautiful in that. I mean, we weren't chasing something crazy by any means. We were just moving towards something that for the first time, I know for me, probably, I don't know if I want to say ever, but for the first time in a while, actually felt honest and felt like it was truly where I was meant to be going.
Pretty profound on that one. Man, just laying them on this in this episode.
Feel free to contribute to the conversation, Eric. No, but like, I mean, it's so interesting because, you know, we've obviously talked about this a ton, but it's just this, you know, we're essentially conditioned to follow a path. And, you know, on that path, like your path won't look the same as my path, but we're still on the path together.
Right,
like
exactly.
We're still heading in the same, you know, direction with at least very similar like end goals. But, you know, like people think that if you choose a different path, it's just like automatic chaos and risk or instability. And I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, I've taken a few turns off of my path. It did start off
so far like the road less traveled. Hey.
I see what you did there. No, but I mean, my path started very traditional. You know, the college route, the career route. And again, yes, it's what was expected of me, but also it was just what I knew.
Yeah, so your choices were a function of your awareness.
100%.
Yeah.
And, you know, it never felt right. Like, I never felt like I found, like, my thing.
Yeah.
And now I recognize that as, you know, it wasn't in alignment with what I knew I was capable of what I knew I wanted in my life. And eventually I just had to be like, well, I've been dancing to the beat of my own drum for a long time in certain areas of my life, so why not just make that a whole life thing?
Right. I mean, you kind of have to listen to that drum play. It will always play. And
It's just a matter of, are you actually going to hear it?
Right, exactly. And I mean, to your point, I would say that I had also a semi-traditional path to I eventually got on there, right? So like military, and then I went to college, and then that basically led me into where I am now. So I understand about that, but I think
you've had a really straight path, though.
I know
we've
was
been
a little...
around. We've been around for a while, like 20 years in each other's lives, from a serious standpoint. But from 18, you were in the construction industry. You've always been in the construction industry in some capacity.
Yeah.
So I would say you really didn't veer much.
Right. Yeah. There was
you
like
tried things within the same industry,
exactly.
but like your path's been pretty darn straight.
Right. And I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think for those who find the thing that they're passionate about, that's amazing. There's literally nothing wrong with that. And it could be the traditional path where it's corporate America, or it could be something wild where you have, I don't even know, like, give me an example of something crazy. Like,
you own big cats?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
A big cat sanctuary?
Exactly. So something like that. Like, you don't need to stick to something, is what I'm trying to say. If you find something that works for you, and like you said before, choosing that different path doesn't always mean chaos and instability and risk and blowing up your life to make that choice. You can make those gradual, so you don't have to jump ship from one to the next in like the in 1 second.
That actually brings to mind, I read it to you the other night and I wish I had it in front of me, but basically, like, you can fail just as much at doing something that
you don't like,
that sucks the life out of you, as much as you can fail at doing something that you are extremely passionate about and that you believe wholeheartedly in.
Yeah.
So, like, you might as well go for the thing that you're passionate about.
Right. Exactly.
That, you could talk about in your sleep.
I think everyone should hear that and read that, or, have that plastered in their house, because it's so true. Like, you don't have to, you're going to have failures and setbacks in your life. And it can be either, like you said, the thing you're going after or the thing you're not going after. So you might as well make use and go after the things you want.
100%. And, it's so interesting for both of us. Like, the second that we started to gain that awareness and started to really focus on not just like making a choice that felt best for us individually and together, but, we started choosing that different path, like, everything just kind of opened from there. And I don't mean just like your eyes opening wider. Like, yes, that, that's obviously going to happen. But it's just the second you start to have that awareness and start to making start making those choices that are very much like in alignment with you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as corny as it sounds, like I think the possibilities truly are endless.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just a matter of what you're willing to dive into and go for.
Mm-hmm. With that being said, we don't just want to deliver a great conversation. Our goal is to leave you with tangible takeaways that you can implement into your life now. And the first one that I think is really important is expanding your exposure. So, when I say that, what I mean is really seeing other ways of living. I think, seeing people, again, charting their own course,
Ooh, I love
veering
that.
from the traditional path.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I was channeling my inner sailor.
Yeah, right.
But I think, seeing other ways of living really expands in your mind what actually feels possible. Because you're seeing a living, breathing, real time example of that.
Yeah, I like that.
I think most people really just feel stuck because they've only seen one version of how life works, like their entire life.
That really explains a lot.
Right?
Like, man.
I mean, hindsight is 2020
Yeah, of
and
course
all,
it is.
but
Yes.
it's true, relating that back to just how heavily influenced we are from literally day one of our lives by
Mm-hmm.
those we're closest to. If you've only ever seen a single version, a single path of how life works,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to just follow that by default.
Yeah, because that's all you know.
The rare few actually challenge that
Right.
and kind of peel back the layers on that. I mean, if everybody around you works a 9 to 5, lives the same schedule, or follows the same path, like it really will feel like the only option.
Mm.
And I know that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
It's just like, oof, is that really how my life went for a while? And it's like, yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say that other options don't exist. They 1000% do. It's just they aren't really visible to you yet.
Okay. So how can we do this practically? Like our listeners, how can they take this and be like, I want to do this?
I'm so glad you asked. I think the first thing is to really pay attention to people living differently. And, yes, of course, look to your inner circle first, and then I guess your outer circle from there, and then just people in your life that you may encounter at the coffee shop, or
Mm-hmm.
you may see at the gym. I mean, I remember when I started my first business, and it took me a while to get comfortable with the ability to just like go to the grocery store in the middle of the day. I like vividly remember the first time I did that, and I was standing in line to check out, and it was just like I felt like an imposter because I was just like, I shouldn't be here. Like, I'm in my late 20s and I'm just at the grocery store in the middle of the day.
I didn't know this.
Not on a lunch break, just like in the middle of the day. And it was just like such a weird, experience, but it got me thinking like, well, why is that young person here in the middle of the day? What about that person? And I know people say that all the time about like, why, like, what do you do for a living that allows you to go to the gym at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
So like, it's not just, those who are like directly in your life. It's just people everywhere that you encounter in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, start paying attention to how they're probably living differently than you are. I mean, some examples of that would be people who work remotely, people who have flexible schedules. Again, that was me being at the grocery store in the middle of the day, and those who just have taken unconventional paths. I think once we start to pay attention to those things, it's much like, once you start to see that specific make and model of a car, you see it everywhere.
Ah, yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, if you see someone in the middle of the day and you're like, I wonder what they do. Just go up and ask them.
I mean, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
We, as humans, like, we do enjoy interacting with other humans.
Crazy
As
as it
intimidating
sounds.
as that may seem at times, like, I, I don't think, you know, if you encounter or if you approach somebody just to ask them that question, I don't think they're just gonna be like, leave.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we actually really do enjoy talking about ourselves. So, like, ask another human a question and you'll probably get a response.
Very true.
But again, another thing there is like follow them, listen to them, obviously, like
Not in person. Don't
not in
follow.
a
Don't
stalker
follow
way,
them. Yeah.
but like observe how they think. This would be for people, who, whether they're like in your immediate circle or they're more of an acquaintance, but like if you have that connection, again, like humans like to talk about themselves and share about their experiences. So it really just comes down to like asking, not by any means to copy them, but just to expand your awareness of what is possible and other options that are out there for you. And then, the last thing is like the goal isn't to change your life overnight. Like, I don't care who you see, whether it's in person or in the online space. And, I don't care if it seems like they just did it overnight. Like, they did not.
Right.
We rarely are privy to the actual, like, messy middle of somebody's transformation.
Yeah. All we're seeing is the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
You're not seeing the 95% of everything that has gone on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And the goal here, is to just realize that there are more options than you once thought and see where that takes you.
Yeah, love that.
Next up would be definitely get curious instead of shutting it down. Ooh. So I don't. Let me see how I can phrase this. So I'm sure there's some actual like scientific research number on how many thoughts we have in a day. I feel like I've seen this before. What that number is, I have no clue. But we have a lot of thoughts every single day. And I think that some thoughts are meant to just pop into our mind and pass on through. Mm-hmm. And others are meant to linger, and we're meant to sit with them. And sometimes some of them may expand, and some of them, again, may just go on their merry way just a little bit later of a timeline. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important to recognize and just to get curious when those thoughts that do linger come through your mind instead of just automatically ruling them out.
That's really good, because one of those things that may just pop in your head may seem like a crazy idea, but it could be the thing you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Right? Like,
yeah. And just by, getting curious about it and literally asking yourself, what would this look like if it was possible for me? I mean, that could change your whole life. Mm-hmm. Completely. In those instances, I think that a lot of people's default response is, well, that wouldn't work for me, or I could never do that. And then the conversation just ends from there.
I mean, I know I've had those thoughts before too. I think everyone has. Mm-hmm. And even if it's not like you're thinking those exact words, it's when that idea pops in your head, subconsciously you may just dismiss it because, quote unquote, that won't work for me, or there's no way I could do that. So you just, your brain protects you, and then it just gets rid of that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is like just not letting the thoughts that really stay with you, that kind of just like, I want to say niggle, but I don't know if niggle is niggle a word?
That just came to my head. Oh my gosh.
Is niggle's a word, right?
I think so.
I feel like I've used it
I don't
before.
know.
I hope it's a word. But those thoughts, it just, they're constantly like there. They're ever present. They're just kind of like poking at you. Mm-hmm. Don't let those thoughts die too quickly, because you never know.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So
again, that in a practical sense, when something does interest you or even sparks an idea in you, just take a moment to pause before dismissing it. It might not be for you at all. It might not be the right timing for you, but it could also be 100% for you. And if you just dismiss every single one, you'll never know what is possible and what you're actually capable of.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good advice.
It's also important to ask yourself, if this was possible for me, what would it look like? And what would need to be true for this to work? Because I think that is really, kind of taking it to that next level, taking it a level deeper and actually like envisioning what, that decision, that choice, that change could look like for you. Like our brains are very much like focused on visualization. I mean, I've done some visualization. I've read about visualization more than I've actually done it. But you hear about it a lot and you read about it a lot when it comes to professional athletes and them,
seeing themselves on the podium
yes,
with the gold around.
Well,
their
no,
neck.
not just that.
Okay.
Not even that. Like I'm at a loss for like exactly who I'm talking about here. Michael Jordan might have actually been one of those folks that I've read about, but seeing yourself, kind of like visualizing the game, how it goes down, how you play, how, the end, whatever the end result is, like visualizing what the outcome is going to be. I mean, I think there's like room for, I don't want to say error in that because I don't think it's that, but like obviously you don't want to fixate on that, but your brain will start to like see that pattern and start to believe what is possible for you.
I really like that.
So, you're not by any means committing to anything when you do kind of visualize that outcome or think about what it would look like for you, but you are opening the door mentally. And I think that's a huge first step in actually implementing a change. That small shift turns from I could never into how could I?
Ooh, I really like that. I think looking into that visualization, I think I'm gonna need to start doing that.
I got some tips.
I know. The third takeaway is, and this is the big one, is it new versus is it different?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, let's expand on this. This feels good.
So, is whatever you're choosing or looking to choose, is it something that is actually different? Or is it just something new? And what I mean by that is, so like something new would be, like in our case, new jobs or a new environment, new routine. But those really are the same patterns. They're just in a different wrapper versus something that is completely different, right? So, for example, I don't want to say a new job because...
Right, so something that's completely different, when it comes to a job, would you consider that to be like you're going from one industry to a completely new industry, or you're going from working for somebody else to working for yourself? Like, what would qualify as different?
I would say the biggest one would be working for somebody else to working for yourself. That would be the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. But if you were in an industry that didn't really match your values and you switched industries to something that really lit you up, that matched your values, let's say you're all in on teaching and you were in a manufacturing position, whatever, and you move to a teaching, you are now a teacher, and that is your thing, like that is something that is different from what you were doing.
So for me, it would be like going from the legal industry into not just working for somebody else, but like to working for myself, but in the health and wellness space, something that I was so passionate about.
Exactly. Yeah. So something different, not something new. Mm-hmm. And again, by new, I mean like new job, same thing, just in a different wrapper.
That question alone, I mean, it's very profound. It would have saved me a lot of years in my early post-college days.
Yeah, right?
Had I known to think that.
Oh, I know. There's a few in here that are just like, whew, I wish we would have known that. But again, hindsight is 2020.
Yes.
So, again, what this looks like practically is when you're making a change, ask yourself, is this actually changing how I live, or is this just a new version of the same thing?
Oof, that cuts deep.
Yeah.
That cuts deep. For us, I mean, obviously, we've both had our fair share of that experience with jobs, but just in thinking about, moving from where we grew up, where we owned a home, to halfway across the country where we owned another home.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same thing, just a different state.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, same, like you said, with jobs. I was in the construction industry in New York, and then I moved to the same industry in Colorado. And it was exciting, don't get me wrong. But
as any new job is.
Exactly. But eventually you get to that point where it is just the same thing in a new wrapper.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to a job, it's the same lack of control over your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah, so that new, it gives you a temporary reset. But different creates lasting change.
I like that. I feel like I'm just going to start putting quotes on every wall space we have, which is not much.
Yeah, not much.
Be like my canvas.
Right?
For us at the end of the day, it was not about selling a house or even moving into an RV. It was about finally being honest with ourselves. Honest about what wasn't working, honest about what we actually wanted, and honest enough to stop forcing something just because it looked right on paper or because it was something that we thought we should be doing.
And that's really what we hope you take from this. This idea that change doesn't have to be dramatic or chaotic to be meaningful. It can start a lot quieter than that. It can start with what you expose yourself to, the questions you're willing to ask, and the awareness of whether you're actually choosing something different or just something new.
Because the goal isn't to blow up your life, it's to build one that actually fits. And that usually starts long before anything on the outside ever changes. If this episode resonated with you, a couple quick things you can do that really help us out. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss the next episode. If you haven't yet, we'd really appreciate you leaving a review. It helps more people who are feeling this way actually find these conversations.
And if someone came to mind while you were listening, send this episode to them. These are the kinds of conversations most people aren't having out loud. And if you want to stay connected with us outside of the podcast, you can find us over on Instagram and Facebook at The Traveling Burns, where we share more of these conversations, real-life moments, and the behind the scenes of what this lifestyle actually looks like.
Thank you for being here. We're Eric and Laura, and this is The Road Less Traveled with The Traveling Burns, where we have honest conversations about challenging the default path and what it really means to live differently. We'll see you in the next episode.